Welcome, beautiful people, to your holistic and cyclical approach to life and business. I'm Leticia, and today we're diving into all things masculine energy, what it is, how we know when we're out of balance with our masculine energy, and what some healthy expressions of masculine energy are, including how you can start activating your masculine energy today. So if you missed out on my last video all about feminine energy, go back and check that out. I'll pop a link in the comments below. So today in this video, we're talking about the other half of the puzzle, the other half of our creative power. As I was explaining in our last video, we have our feminine energy and then we have our masculine energy, and combined they are our creative power. Now, these two energies work in different ways, which are often seen as in conflict, but really when we use them to work together, we are able to create in a way that isn't possible if we're just relying on one or the other. So they are both so important. So what is masculine energy then? Masculine energy is all about doing. It's about our output. Whereas feminine energy is about our input. So masculine energy is very outward focused. It's focused on doing. It's focused on action. It's focused on the mind and thinking. It's focused on logic and objectivity. So masculine energy is usually easier for all of us to understand, but that doesn't mean that it comes with its own set of problems. Like with our feminine energy, we can have unhealthy expressions of masculine energy. We can feel out of balance with our masculine energy. And we can also rely too much on our feminine energy and have trouble trying to activate that masculine within us. Now, we need both our masculine and feminine energy to be able to create anything. So you might be someone who's super good at receiving ideas, like you might just be full of inspiration all the time, like me, but then you have trouble acting on those ideas. This is a problem then with your masculine energy. So you're open to receiving, you understand that receiving is so important, you find it easy to get inspired, but then when it comes to following through and going through the physical act of creating, the doing part of that puzzle, that's where you run up against yourself. Now, this is a problem because creativity is so much more than just the receiving of the idea. And this is why, even if you're someone who feels super inspired and comes up with all of these beautiful creative ideas, you still feel unfulfilled. And that's because creativity requires us to go through the whole cycle of creativity. This is a topic that I talk about in my program, Embrace Your Feminine Essence. And that's because creativity is so much more diverse than most of us understand. So when you are able to open up to receiving and to being in that feminine energy state, and then you also are working on taking that beautiful action that comes from that place of alignment, so leading with your feminine energy first, you become a creative powerhouse because you're working with both your masculine and feminine energy. And this is something that we discuss in Embrace Your Feminine Essence as well. So it's so important for us to be able to understand what healthy expressions are of both the masculine and the feminine. So I'm going to take you through some ways that you can know that you're out of balance with your masculine, and then we'll dive into the healthy expressions. Okay, so the first most obvious way that you'll feel out of alignment with your masculine energy is when you struggle to take action. Equally, on the other end of the scales, there is when we take too much action. So you might be someone who feels like you're a workaholic or always needs to be doing something, never has time for rest, and so you're constantly burning yourself out. Just like we were talking about in our video about feminine energy. This is when we are relying too much on our masculine energy, and so we're not creating space to be with our feminine energy. This is not sustainable, which is why we end up not being able to keep up with all of the doing. And our body tends to create sicknesses as a way to get us to wake up. That's what happened to me because I am a recovering workaholic. Another 2 ways that you might feel out of balance with your masculine energy is when you are great at receiving ideas like we were discussing before, but then you have trouble acting on them or physically creating, so bringing those ideas into form. Now, another way you might feel out of balance is when you rely too much on your thinking brain. So it can go to either extreme. You don't use your thinking mind at all, so you rely perhaps heavily on your emotions, but then don't use your mind when you need to use it for more practical matters. Or you might rely too much on your thinking mind and feel really disconnected from your emotions and therefore aren't in this beautiful place of balance. Now, let's talk about some healthy expressions of masculine energy then. So the best way that I always recommend to work with your masculine energy is to make sure that first and foremost, you are leading with your feminine energy. Now, this is why in my program, Embrace Your Feminine Essence, the focus on the program is really about learning how to reconnect with your feminine energy. But then at the end of the program, we discuss how to integrate and use your feminine energy with your masculine energy. Because 1, it's so important that we're also using our masculine energy. And 2, the problem or the source of the problem with our masculine energy can often come from an imbalance with our feminine energy. So once we're in alignment with our feminine energy and we're using it in a really healthy, authentic way, we can then use our masculine energy, which is so much easier to understand, to follow through with that action, to use the mind as we need to support ourselves and to make sure that we're getting all of the practical things that we need to get done in our life. So this brings me to the second expression of a healthy expression of masculine energy, and that is using our mind as and when you need it. So rather than simply starting with the mind and trying to work out whether something's right for you by going through your list of your pros and cons, rather than doing that all the time, asking yourself, is this a situation where logic and reason is required over going with what feels right and in alignment for myself? So when you're dealing with finances, for instance, that might be a time that you want to use your thinking mind. When you're trying to set up a structure for your business or a new funnel or something, you might want to use your mind as well so that you can make sure that you're going through all of the steps that you need to hit. A third beautiful, healthy expression of masculine energy is creating structure in your life. This is so important because for our feminine energy, which is much more flexible, transient, fluid, we need something that can hold the space for us. And so this is where the masculine energy becomes so important. It is there to hold that space, to give us the structure. And so rather than seeing structure as a way to limit your freedom, you can start to see structures and routines, or what I prefer to call rituals, to hold that space for the things that you most adore or value and want to prioritize in your life. When we have those structures and those routines that come from a place of alignment with what inspires us and what lights us up, they allow us freedom to be able to do those things. And the third way is that masculine energy is all about giving. It's about your output to the world. So express that desire to give, but just like we were also talking about with our feminine energy, do it from a place of having filled yourself up first and foremost. Now, this is a great place to talk about this because masculine energy is focused on the I. It's very self-focused. So we can use that self-focus, like ego mind that we all have within us, to know and understand what our needs and desires are and to take care of those before we go and give to the world. Now, if you're someone who's having trouble activating your masculine energy, I want to give you 3 ways that you can start activating your masculine energy today. So the first is to create structure in your life through creating routines or habits. The more that you do this for the things that you love, the easier it will become to start doing them. So personally, I love to have a morning routine that I do every day, and sometimes it changes, but what doesn't change is that I have my morning alignment time. And this is when I do my movement, my meditation, I eat my breakfast, I get ready, I listen to inspiring videos or podcasts, or I do my affirmations, I write in my journal, and this for me is a routine and it protects that me time. I also make sure I have routines around my business. So I work with my cycle, which means that I can schedule things or activities into my diary and make sure that they're at the right times according to what season of my cycle I'm in. And this creates structure in my life and some routine, which then creates space for all of the things that are really important to me. The second way is to take action, but do it from a place of inspiration. And so this is what we call inspired action, which you might have heard about. So yes, take action, but make sure it comes from this place of alignment, of where you've had time to be and sit with yourself in your feminine energy before you go out in the world and do. And so an easy way to do this is just to ask yourself, why am I taking this action? Where is it coming from? What is the intention behind what I'm doing? And make sure that you really love your why, that it does feel in alignment with how you want to show up in the world. And the third way to activate your masculine energy today is to add physical movement into your life. Whether it's simply doing something to stretch your body, if that's all that you can do at the moment, going on a walk, going for a run, doing something fun like dancing, whatever you can do to shift your energy to get you into physical momentum will help you get into momentum in all other areas of your life. So if in doubt, try movement. It will make doing a lot easier. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you want to learn more about working with your masculine and feminine energy, I invite you to check out the details of my program, Embrace Your Feminine Essence, which I will link below. See you in our next video. Mwah! Bye.